All right, I just wanted to make sure and give anybody that was gone or just anybody else that needed some extra practice with the monohybrid Punnett squares, just another chance to kind of go over it and see how I set it up and everything. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is get ready for our crosses so we know what the genotypes of our parents are. So we're going to put mom here and dad over here. All right. So my mother and father are both homozygous recessive for tongue rolling, so they're unable to roll their tongue. What is the probability that their child will be able to roll their tongue? All right, so it says that they're both homozygous recessive, and it gives us that RR means that they're unable to roll their tongue, and it also gives it to us there. So our mom is going to be R, and our dad is going to be little r. So we'll set it up. So our dad can give us a little r or a little r. We'll draw it like a little sperm there with the tail. And then our mom can be either little r or little r, and we'll draw that as like an egg. So father's genes, R, mother's genes, little r, just like the father. All right, so then we're going to move down with the father's genes. We put little r, and then little r, and those are all coming from the father. And then we're going to do the mothers all the way across. So little r, little r. Okay, so what we get here is that the genotype's present. Those are all going to be little r. So the phenotype's present. Well, that's going to be unable to roll your tongue. Okay, so now we're going to look at the phenotypic and the genotypic ratio. And what we're going to find is that we have 100% R, so little r. So we have 100% of the homozygous recessive for all the potential progeny. And then the phenotypic ratio, we're going to have 100% that are unable to roll their tongue. All right, we'll do another practice one here. All right, so this one's just a little bit different. So it says, my mother is heterozygous for tongue rolling, and my father is heterozygous for tongue rolling. What is the probability that I will be able to roll my tongue? All right, and just to answer this last one, what is the probability that the child will be able to roll their tongue? That'd be a 0% chance. Okay, so now, same question, just a different cross that will happen. So again, we'll put our mom over here and our dad right here. And again, we have the same genotype for our parents. So my mom is going to be big R, little r, and my dad is going to be big R, little r. So they're both going to be heterozygous for tongue rolling. So the potential alleles that dad can give, a little r or a big R. The potential alleles for mom is going to be a little r or a big R. So for our mother's genes, we'll put big R, little r. For our father's genes, we'll put big R, little r. So when we do the cross now, we'll bring our father down first. So we'll have big R in the left box, in the top left box, and big R in the bottom left box. And then we're going to have a little r here in the top right box and a little r here in the bottom right box. Then our mother's genes we can add across. So we'll have a big R here and a big R here. We always want to make sure to put that dominant allele out front, just because when we look at it, we don't want to get it confused. So we don't want to see the little r out front and then end up thinking that it's actually homozygous recessive. Okay, so now to do the bottom. So again, we're going to put the little r and the little r. So let's see how that changed up, because it obviously did change up our genotypes and phenotypes. So the genotype that are present is going to be homozygous dominant, so big R, heterozygous, so big R, little r, and then homozygous recessive, little r. Our phenotypes present are going to be unable to roll the tongue, and remember that is only going to be the homozygous recessive, and then we have the able to roll your tongue. I don't think that you guys can see that down there. Yeah. So, all right. So you also have able. So I'll just write that over here so that everybody can see that for the phenotype. For the phenotypic ratio, so let's do the genotypic ratio actually first, so we can see where everything comes from for the phenotypic ratio. So for the genotypic ratio, we have big R, and that's the only one, and it's out of 4, so we're going to have a 25% chance of big R. We have 2 that are heterozygous, so we're going to have a 50% chance of big R, little r. And then finally, we only have 1 set of little r, so we're going to have a 25% chance of the homozygous recessive. For the phenotypic ratio, I'm going to switch over to a blue here. So the phenotypic ratio, remember, is going to be able to roll your tongue or unable to roll your tongue. So for unable, we have 1. And then remember, the heterozygotes are able to roll their tongue. So that means that we have a 75% of the children will be able to roll their tongue and 25% wouldn't. So if you came from these parents, you would have a 75% chance that you would be able to roll your tongue. All right. Thank you guys for listening once again, and come with any questions.